Good evening. I'm Jennifer Lindsay and I'm a certified health coach and I specialize in natural fertility. And I want to talk to you a little bit about why I chose to focus on fertility and let you know a little bit about myself in the process. So, I was 25 when I got pregnant with my first daughter, and my husband and I had been married about 5 years at the time. And it was a fabulous experience. I loved being pregnant, and unfortunately, he didn't stick around. So it was myself and my daughter for a little while, and I married my forever husband when I was 32, and we tried to get pregnant pretty early on in our marriage. He's quite a bit older than me, and so we didn't want to waste any time. And I always wanted 9 kids. I thought that was a nice round number. My mom is one of 11 and my dad's one of 6. So I thought 9 was a kind of a happy in between. But it didn't quite work out that way. We had a lot of trouble getting pregnant the first time, and it took us about 10 months to get pregnant. And unfortunately, I miscarried in my second trimester. And so we tried again after that, but my OB soon referred me to the fertility clinic that was in our area. And so we talked with them about what our options were. I did a little bit of testing, and they recommended that we start in vitro IVF right away. And I've always been kind of a natural person, and in vitro sounded so invasive, and I really still have a fear of needles, and I was really not interested in going that route. There was just so much invasiveness to the procedure of IVF that I didn't want to start there right away. So it was my personal decision to go with IUI instead. Start with IUI. And we tried IUI a few times, and unfortunately that didn't work. And we did eventually find our way into IVF, and it's very expensive. It's a very expensive procedure, and insurance doesn't cover it in the majority of cases. And so that was a tough decision too. But I really wanted to give my husband children, and he had adopted my daughter, but we really wanted to grow our family. And so with that in mind, we went into IVF, and we really started throwing a lot of money at trying to have a baby. And all the while, I was working as an engineer at a local company, and my husband is an engineer also. So he and I were both working full time, and our daughter was in school, and we were eating out 3 meals a day. Stop by McDonald's for breakfast, and eat at the company for lunch, and go out for dinner, grab something on the way home, or go out as a family, or whatever. But I wasn't eating the best. And I was extremely stressed at work. I was not a real happy person, especially in going through the in vitro process too. Is a very stressful process, and so there was a lot of stress in our lives, in my life, and I went into the IVF process, not realizing that I had to go and take blood thinners also. I had a genetic test done, and they put me on Lovenox, an injectable blood thinner that I had to do throughout our treatment while they were trying to figure out if the cycles were successful or not. And when they weren't successful, then we started over and threw more money at it and bought more hormones and syringes. And some days we were injecting me, between me injecting myself with Lovenox and my husband injecting me with the hormones in my rumpus region. I was being injected with up to 3-4 needles a day, and it's 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 not fun. It's not fun at all. And so several injections, lots of hormones, daily blood thinners, and nothing worked. Still nothing worked. None of our cycles worked. Um, Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars gone every single time we tried. And eventually we were resigned to the fact that I was going to need an ovum donor. And we did research a couple of different companies, and I finally chose a donor, an Angel Michelle. I only know her first name. Well, I know quite a bit about her, but not, we've never met. And she's, if you don't know, when you go with an egg donor, they go through the process with you. So it's not like a sperm donor where you go to a sperm bank and you pick your sperm. This is a woman, and she goes through the process with you, and she injects herself, or her husband injects her, however that works on her side. It's all in her control. We pay for that, and she goes through the process. And luckily, Michelle was very fertile and gave us several eggs to work with. So we now have 3 beautiful boys, twins, that are 7, and our youngest is 4. And we are so very happy. And we exhausted all our embryos, and we ended up with 3, and we're satisfied with that. That's what we've been blessed with in this life. And I'm very happy with where we ended up. But what I came to understand through my health coach training was that in all of that process, I could have been doing more. And going through that process, I felt extremely powerless. I was left at the mercy of however my body was going to respond to these injectable drugs, to the suppositories. Nasty, messy process, pain, stress. So there was the stress at work. There was the stress through with IVF, and pain with needles. It's none of it's fun. And trying to be intimate through that process is also stressful, because in it you lose your identity as a woman. I often wondered what's my purpose, if I, besides being my mom to my daughter. My body was broken, and it wasn't broken. I didn't realize that at the time, but I felt broken. I felt powerless, and I felt like my role as a life giver had been robbed from me somehow, and I didn't understand, and I was very mad. And we went through the grief process over and over and over again. Every time we tried a cycle and it didn't succeed, and it failed, we grieved. We grieved for the loss of that embryo, for the loss of the hope that we had for that child. And it's a very stressful process. And I just want to let everyone know that's why I chose fertility, because I've been there. I know the stress. I know the sense of lack of control, of powerlessness. And I want so badly to let you know that you have control. You have so much more power than you realize. And I just want to be there to help you regain that power, regain that sense of control, regain that sense of playfulness in your intimacy with your spouse, because you can have all of that and your life back and I can help you do that. So I just wanted to let you see that I am fully connected to my mission to help women conceive naturally and empower them to unleash their natural fertility through the food that they eat, through handling the stress that they deal with every day. And whether that's if you want to go the natural route, or if you want to work with me while you're going through in vitro, both are options that are completely viable. The no pun intended with viability there, but I am so eager to connect with the people who are watching this and are connecting with me and my story. If anything I said resonated with you, if you're out there and you're feeling powerless and you're feeling like things are completely out of your control, I would love to talk with you and see if we might be a match to work together so that I can help you unleash your natural fertility. Let's get started. Let's get started making babies because I'm excited about it and I hope you are too. Take care. Have a good night.